نحن نقص عليك أحسن القصص بما أوحينا إليك هذا القرآن وإن كنت من قبله لمن الغافلين.
Happy birthday.
Okay, come on, sit down now and don't move, okay? Bismillah. Bismillah. Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een bi rahmatika arhamar rahimin. So we're back again with the stories that we started yesterday. As I said, we are going to be going through every story in this book, and today we are going to look at a new story, and that story is a very, very famous story, and it's actually also a hadith of Bukhari as well, which is the companions of the cave. And today we've got a special guest as well, who actually was asleep yesterday, so she wanted to also be part of this video, so she's here today as well. So a very, very famous story, the companion of the cave. And there were three people that were traveling. So we'll read the story first, and then we'll talk about some of the lessons that we can extract, and that's the format. And then after that, everyone's going to get a question to ask. So Abdullah ibn Umar said, I heard the Messenger of Allah saying, 3 individuals from those who came before you set out until they sought shelter for the night in a cave. So they entered it. A rock fell down from the mountain and blocked the entrance of the cave. They said, nothing will save us from this unless you supplicate to Allah by the virtue of one who has done the righteous deeds. So one of them said, O Allah, I had parents who were old, and I used to offer them milk before any of my family or my wealth. One day I went far away in search of grazing and couldn't come back until after they fell asleep. When I milked as usual and brought the milk, I found they both were asleep. I hated to disturb them and also disliked to give milk to my children before them. My children were crying out of hunger at my feet, but I waited with the bowl in my hand for my parents to wake up. When they woke up in the dawn, they drank the milk. O Allah, if I did it to seek your pleasure, then deliver us from the distress caused by this rock. The rock moved slightly, but they were unable to escape. So that was the first man. And the next man said, O Allah, I had a cousin who I loved more than anyone else. In another version, he said, as a man can love a woman. I wanted her for myself, but she refused. Hard pressed in a year of famine, she approached me. I gave her 120 dinars on the condition that she would yield herself to me. She agreed, and when we got together, she said, fear Allah and do not break the seal unlawfully. I moved away her despite the fact that I loved her most passionately, and I let her keep the money and I had given her. O Allah, if I did to seek your pleasure, then remove the distress that we are in. The rock moved aside and a bit further, but they were unable to get out. Finally, the last man said, O Allah, I hired some laborers and paid them their wages, but one day one of them departed without taking his due. I invested his money in business, and the business prospered greatly. After a long time, he came back and he said to me, O slave of Allah, pay me my dues. I said, all that you see is yours, camels, cattle, goats, and slaves. He said, O slave of Allah, do not mock me. I assured him that I was not joking. So he took all the things and went away. He spared nothing. Oh Allah, if I did it so seeking your pleasure, then relieve us of this distress. The rock slipped aside and they got out walking freely. So just to put the story in summary very quickly. So there were 3 people. They were going in, they speak about a forest in the night. So they're sort of a jungle and they're lost. And then they're going, just like that. And then they enter a cave to seek refuge. You know, the night's dark. And one of the other narrations where you probably heard the people say it started raining. So when they went inside this cave, a big rock came from the top of the mountain and it blocked the entrance of the cave. And when it blocked the entrance of the cave, they could not come out. So imagine if the door is closed and you don't have the keys, how can you go out? I mean, there's no way you can go out. So exactly this is what happened to them.
Garage.
Well, let's just say you're in a room and there's one door. You can't break that door and there's no way out. In order to get out of that room, you need that door to open.
Break the window.
There's no windows.
Okay.
So basically, after that, they decided to move that, but when they could not move it, then they said there's no other way. We only have to ask Allah of our good deeds. Something that we learn from this story, it's an amazing benefit. We are allowed to ask du'as to Allah of something that we've done good. So let's say if you wanted something of Allah, you can say, oh Allah, I did that for you. Or Allah, if I only did it for you, then make it happen for me. So yes, you can ask, those sort of du'as are allowed. Okay, listening. So when the first one stood up, and this is a great lesson for all of us over here, okay, all of us. Everyone listening, okay, because you are children. The man says, I actually did not, this was my habit, that I would always give milk to my parents first and then my children. And one day they fall asleep in the night, and what did I do? I waited for my parents to wake up and my children were crying. Now that's a lesson for all of us over here. I mean, what great virtues that when we listen to our parents. And you know, it's if you listen to your parents, all of you, and in your case, I'm your parent, if you listen to me, then Allah will bless you. And Allah will remove hardship from your lives. Allah will take you out of darkness. And this is such a great benefit. And that's what Allah speaks in the Quran. وَبِرِ الْوَالِدَيْنِ.
Are you?
Oh, no, I'm not. But we all worship Allah. Where is Allah?
No, come I to
No, but where is Allah?
sky.
Very good. Okay, now, well, I still haven't finished. So that's the first story, that's the first virtue. Very quickly. Second one.
So are we going to the second story?
Yeah, there are 3 stories in this story. In the story of the cave. So the second person, now the boulder has moved and it's not enough for them to get out. So imagine the door's a little open, but you still need to open it completely to come out. So the second one stands up and he says, oh Allah, I had an eye on, like sort of I wanted to come in a bad relationship with an opposite gender. So this is something for children, everyone listening. We live in this country, we talk to girls and boys talk to girls and girls talk to boys. It's always there are boundaries for us when we are talking to opposite gender.
Do you want to talk to opposite gender?
No, if we are not related to them, then we should be careful. We should not touch them and we should not be free with them. We should not talk to them unnecessarily. We should speak to them only for work purpose or whatever purpose that we have. But we should always have boundaries. We should not exceed the limits. I mean, you cannot be like, how you are with your sisters and with your mother, and likewise how you're with your brother and with your father. You cannot have those kind of relationship, close relationship with the opposite gender. Okay, Zainab, do you want to sit down? When you can ask questions, okay? When the time comes.
Opposite gender mean like boy or girl?
Yeah, so opposite gender is simple. For you, who's the opposite gender?
Girl.
That's it. For the girls, the opposite gender is?
Boy.
So that's what it is. So basically the hadith is saying, the man was saying, I had an ill intent, so a bad intention towards my cousin, and when I was about to do something wrong, she reminded me of fearing Allah. And you know, under the shade of Allah, there is a hadith, like 7 under the shade of Allah. The hadith is that رَجُلٌ دَعَوْتُهُ إِمْرَأَةٌ ذَاتَ مَنْسَبْ وَجَمَالٍ فَقَالَ إِنِّي أَخَافُ اللَّهِ. That when a man is summoned by a woman of beauty and status, and the man says, I fear Allah. So basically, what it means is we should always have these boundaries when we are dealing with opposite gender. So for opposite gender, for a boy is a girl, and for a girl is a boy. So that's when he said, oh Allah, when I did that, the stone moved, the boulder moved. So now it was moved, but not enough for them to get out. Now finally came the last person, and he said, I was a businessman, and I used to hire people to do some work for me. And one day a man had a conflict, an argument with me, and he left. He did not take his money. So after a long time he came back and he said, give me my money. And I said to him, you see all those things, all those cows and sheep and camels, and that's all yours. And he said, you're having a laugh. So you're joking, yeah? He's saying that. No, he said, no, I'm not joking. That's all yours. Because when you went away, I invested your money, and this is what I bought from your money. So what do we learn from this hadith? That we should always fulfill the trust of people. If people give you something, they entrust you with something, we should always fulfill that. And also for people, if you are rich and you have people that work under you, then you should always give them money on time. You know, your servants and everyone, you should always give them money on time. And the hadith also shows that power of Allah, finally, that how important is everything that happens in our life, Ibrahim and Abdullah and Zainab and Zahra, everything that happens in our life is because of the power of Allah. If Allah did not want that stone to move, that stone wouldn't have moved at all. But Allah is the one who asked that stone to move, and those people became free, and they could go from there. So the lessons that we learn, that the power of dua, that all of us, you know, we should spend a lot of time making dua. At least we should have a day, every Friday the family should gather, we should all pray. We should all make dua to Allah. Ask for what you want, okay, whatever you want. And when you make dua, when you raise your hands like that, Allah will give you whatever you want. Even it's as little as a pencil and as big as a car, or anything that you want. When you make dua, Allah will make it happen for you. And also understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also the one who relieves us of our worries. You know, when we feel sad or when we are down and we think, you know, we're kind of like we're anxious, where we've got going through some anxiety. In that case, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who actually, when you pray to Him, He relieves us from every sort of pressure that we're going through. All right, so that's in a nutshell. That was the 3 people. Who were the 3 people now? Question time. What was the 3 people in the story who got stuck in the cave? What was the first guy? What did the first guy do? What was the action?
Milk.
Milk. To whom?
His parents.
So what do we learn from that? What's the lesson? Very good. Yes, Abdullah, who was the second person in the story?
Cousin.
Cousin. What happened to that person?
He was full of love with the cousin.
Very good. Then what does Allah tell us to do? Fear Him, but the boundaries that we need to have. Okay, the last one. Who's the last person?
Oh, the guy who bought so much sheep and cows. a sheep.
from someone's money. And then when that person came to get the money, okay, wait, just 1 minute. Yeah, what happened then?
He said, "Oh, you're like you kidding me, yeah?" And then they're done.
Now me.
Okay, yes, you tell us.
About why the person gets his monies?
Yeah, because he worked. You know, when you work hard, you have to get the money.
Why did the person spend all his money on cows and things like that?
Because it's like, you know, you're doing business.
Not you.
Okay,
Papa.
you can sit over here. Yeah.
Can I tell you the story?
No, wait, you ask me a question. Now it's question time. Let everyone ask a question and then you get to ask the last question, okay? Yes, Zainab, you got a question? Yeah, what's the question?
Why did they get locked in the cage?
Oh, yeah, because it was a really dark night and the stone was on the mountain and it came down, rolling down, and it came and they got locked there. That's one of the reasons. And again, that was the order of Allah. Remember, everything that happens is because Allah wants that to happen. Yes. Yes, your question.
How did that rock even get in that roof?
It's like, you know, if you see those rocks falling off the mountain and they come rolling down.
But how did that rock come over there?
It was breaking off the mountain. Probably it was breaking off the mountain and it rolled down and it got stuck on the mouth of the cave. Yes. You got a question?
No.
No questions?
No.
Oh, well, you've got a question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why the cousin and another cousin and another cousin and another cousin go in the cage?
Oh, yeah, because they went on a picnic. So they wanted to go and have a little bit of fun and go to the picnic and then come back in their houses.
Why do you do that?
Yeah, you know when we went to the cave for picnic? You know when we went to the snowy mountains? And we went in the mountain, yeah? So we went for picnic. So that's how they went to the cave for picnic.
Why were we going in the mountain and eat picnic?
Yeah, because we wanted to.
I want to. I must stop doing the listen. If one cousin touches the monster grow up, and when they're going there, the monster kills the another cousin, the second cousin, the second.
Okay, anyways, now we're going to say bye-bye to everyone. Say bye to the camera and say أقول قولي هذا استغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفر الله إنه الغفور الرحيم. You can't say that? I'll teach you how to say it. So we're going to meet you guys again tomorrow with another story. Till then, have fun and look after yourselves. And Assalamu alaikum.